Hey y'all, Shellback Bow here. I don't know why I had a southern drawl just now. That was weird. Uh, Want to talk about? Well, first a little update. Finally got my desks put back together, reassembled for my office, and next is gonna be going through the books. I need to put my rugs down, but my shoulder's tired. Uh, I had to. This one can be swapped around so that this is coming off of here or here, and I had it here for the old office, but for the new office, to get it shaped the way that I have it shaped, I had to swap it around. So there was a second disassembly and reassembly because I didn't know how I wanted the office to be until I got the desks assembled and saw them physically in the space. But the topic for today is honor code, virtue, reputation, fame, and infamy. And for my Holy Byzantine Shogunate setting, which I still haven't come up with a name yet, if you guys have any suggestions, I'm open to any suggestions at all. Doesn't mean I'll use it, but I'm willing to take a look into it, and it could be part of the muse, part of the stew and that goes into the back of the brain on the back burner and produces stuff. But yeah, so like you see in Oriental Adventures, samurai have honor code. There's most of the classes have some sort of honor reputation factor, and then knights have their codes of chivalry. Paladins are lawful and good, and so you've got all these different factors, but for my setting, I want to do something like that, and I want to have it tied into like the samurai's abilities, or whoever. No, let's see. I think I got better lighting over here. And the so like in Oriental Adventures 1E, I saw that the katana is a 1d10, and I think in 3.5 it's a 1d10. It's basically a bastard sword. But the katana is a 27 to 29 inch saber blade with a two-handed hilt. Essentially, that's what it is. It could, if it was built by a non-Japanese blacksmith or bladesmith, if it was made in France, and it had quillions instead of the tsuba, it'd be maybe a long sword or a broadsword or a saber. Like it might be considered a falchion, even though falchions are completely different profile. Falchions are basically two-handed or they're machetes. They're 36-inch bladed machetes, roughly 36-inch blade. One hand or maybe a hand and a half, depending on which version of it. The Germans had a knife that was essentially a falchion. That was a hand and a half version of the falchion. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. But yeah. So but because it's samurai mythos and the honor and this was my family's ancient sword, and it's a source of my honor that I have this sword, so it can cut through anything. Well, it's a masterwork blade, sure, so you get a +1 to your attack, or at least in 3.5. I don't know if 1E has any mastercraft editions of weapons, or if that's just or if that's a later thing. So it's going to be a 1d8 blade, and that's being generous because it's only 29 inches long. But then you have the wakizashi, which is the companion blade, and the two of them together are the symbol of the samurai. So only samurai and higher in the noble classes can carry a pair, the pair. If you're just bushi, a fighter, you can carry a katana, you can carry a wakizashi, but you can't carry the two of them together side by side in your, I forget what the sash, I think it's what's called, the Japanese version of the sword belt. So you've got that going. And the wakizashi is a 21-inch blade. It's like 20 to 24 inches, and it's a one-handed weapon, so it's basically a short sword. So it's a D6. And, you can't have a two-handed D6 next to a one-handed D6 blade option. That's just silly. So a D8, okay. You could probably get away with rolling a 1d3 and a 1d4 and having a 2 to 7 damage range, but that's a little complicated, and people don't like rolling 3-sided dice because most people don't have 3-sided dice, and so they have to roll a d6 and then divide by 2, and that's too much math for a lot of people, so we'll just go with a 1d8. That's fine. It's essentially a long sword. And then let's go ahead and have that honor that the samurai has, and have that as, like, depending on the honor of the blade and the honor of the samurai, maybe a damage bonus that goes in there. Like an attack and damage bonuses that go in. That's what I'm thinking. So there's a mechanical tie to the honor of your samurai. The more honorable he's been, the higher his combat prowess becomes, and so he can actually gain a almost like a sacred bonus based off of his adherence to the code of Bushido. Or if it's a samurai paladin, which Holy Byzantine Shogunate would have samurai paladins. Not Sohei. Sohei would be the Shinto or Buddhist variant of the paladin. This would be the Western religion, not the Eastern religion. Paladin. Maybe it would be the adherent. We'd have to have a separate honor code because you're aligning Bushido, but you're merging it with the 7 virtues. And so adherence to additional oaths also increases the abilities of the blade. And then obviously the counter to virtue is going to be the 7 sins and corruption factors. And so it's not like I'm taking a whole lot of notes at the moment. My computer is in there. I'm not doing a whole lot of work at the moment on the system, but I'm mulling ideas while doing physical labor and listening to everybody else online go on their merry ways talking about whatever random stuff they're talking about, alignments and character classes and starting equipment. And what's the topic that Tenkar and Angelo and Greyhawk Grognard are talking about now? They're talking about starting stats. the Ignited Dice Engine doesn't use D6s for rolling your ability scores. It uses D3s. You roll 3d3 down the line, or you roll 3d3 like 7 times, and then you assign them where you want, and then you choose your race, and you roll, either add or subtract 1, or you add a 1d3 to that stat. And then, that's how the Ignited Dice Engine is working. So it's not even like it's, you can roughly divide by 2 your score and then add a couple points to it I'll build a conversion table eventually. I haven't gotten that far yet in the Ignited Dice Engine. So you can convert OSR products over to the Ignited Dice Engine system. And I'm planning on taking my Holy Byzantine Shogunate setting and having an OSR variant. Like, there's going to be a system neutral book, and then the actual classes will be, okay, here's the classes and weapons and stuff with stats are going to be, here's the OSR version and here's the Tide version, just so that people can buy what they want. You're not bound under, you're not forced to have extra pages in a book at your table when you're gaming and having, and I'm also going to be doing A4 and whatever the half size for A4 is. I think it's A5 or B5. I don't remember. That's down the road. I'm not at the point where I'm trying to fit it on the paper yet. It's still in text documents at the moment. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. By the way, the Diversity in Dragons shirt is one of the most comfortable shirts I've ever had. So, Double D, if you see this, it's so comfy. It's just so comfy. It fits amazing. Part of it may be because I've lost some weight, but it's only been washed once so far, and we'll see how well the print stays in about a year or two. It may go bad because it's not a silk print. It feels like it might be some sort of latex or something, but not latex exactly. I don't know anything about that stuff. But the shirt itself is really nice. Yeah, that's all I've got on my mind right now. Obviously, like Fame and Infamy, I wanted to put in there, and I'm gonna look into other rule sets that have made use of them to see what they do and how it affects their rule sets to get inspiration on what I want to do with the Tide and the Holy Byzantine Shogunate. I really need a name for that. Like, it's descriptive, but it's not, it doesn't roll off the tongue very easily. And I don't want to say, like, Byzantium Gawa or something like that. Yeah, I'm going to let you guys go and have fun this weekend.